lost, confused, and the subtle beauty in between. How spontaneously taking an online Korean course with the Houston Korean Education Center showed me the beauty in being lost in learning. A video memoir by J.D. Brewer. This video memoir is in response to the summer inquiry question presented to the Ann Richards School for Young Women Leaders, What is Beautiful but Underappreciated, and the My Dear Korea project with the Houston Korean Education Center, The Beauty in Learning the Korean Language from Scratch. Chapter 3, One Season of Strong Girl Bong soon and one rumor later. After college, I entered the world of teaching through the door of ESL, and I witnessed students stumble and rage through my native language. I could see that brilliance behind their eyes stymied by a mistranslated word or the inability to explain something they knew so intimately in their home language. Their frustrations and confidence would ebb and flow, and the fear of sounding stupid became their stumbling blocks. After all, perfectionism is a disease that infects us all, and when embraced, it turns into fear that prevents us from playing and absorbing unknown concepts and languages. I tried my best to remove this fear of English by building a community that empowered their voices and embraced their personal stories, but this task of learning a new language was hard. During my 5 years working as a high school ESL teacher, I encountered many languages and cultures. Here and there, I had Korean students, and they would gift me with kimchi and thank you spoken in beautifully nuanced English. I think they were just happy to have someone in a strange land that liked the food that tasted of home. However, to be honest, I missed another opportunity to engage in the Korean language. There were 11 different countries represented in one class period alone, and I had language opportunity paralysis. I would get a word here or there from Farsi or Spanish or Vietnamese or Korean and so on and so forth. But when opportunities arose to dive deeper, I squirreled my way through clips of fascination before pulling my students back to what they needed most from me, and that was teaching them English. It's been years since I've taught ESL, and I haven't worked with a Korean student since. But 2 summers back, right before school started again, I stumbled upon the Korean language once more in the form of a Korean drama. Strong Girl Bong soon instantly became the perfect distraction from all the hard thinking that inflicts teachers in August. In terms of storytelling and character development, the show is supreme. Beyond how hard I laughed, I kept thinking that the Lord of the Rings trilogy got Legolas totally wrong in casting. Sorry, Orlando Bloom, because Park Hyung-sik totally has this immortal elf face, and I started telling anyone who would listen that they had to watch this show. After gushing about this show during a team meeting, a coworker began the rumor to a few 9th graders that I was obsessed with K-pop, which at the time I had no idea existed. On the first day of school, 3 squealy former students poked their head through the door to seek confirmation of this rumor, and when I explained that I had no idea what K-pop was, their smiles and squeals transitioned into pure disappointment. "Oh, okay," they mumbled. And before they could disappear into the hallway with their deflated expectations, I felt a pang in my soft heart. I told them to come back. I said that they could make me a playlist so they could teach me about this thing that they loved so dearly. Not wanting to be overwhelmed, of course, I only let them pick 2 songs apiece. This was a task they found impossible, and they actually debated over which songs to put in there for about 30 minutes before they landed on some. The rest was history. This gift of music from my students became an introduction into the Korean language for me. Korean music became this thing that infiltrated dance parties with my toddler and became the background music as I wrote my novels. Though I made no attempt to understand the songs I played on repeat, I felt them to be beautiful beyond any language I'd ever encountered before. It was as if Korean was designed to be sung, and there was a softness to the words that smoothed out the roughness to a hard day. That year, I also fell in love with several Korean dramas and television shows. The author in me was drawn to how artistically crafted and vibrant the stories were. I may not know much about the world, but I believe this to be true. Korean storytelling has a pulse on humanity, and it is beautiful. That January, during our school's winter intercession camp, a few students asked me to host a K-pop session. 24 teenagers crammed into my room for 3 full days, and they were filled to the brim with excitement and pure, uninhibited joy. There is something stunning to this. Young, happy hearts are contagious and inspiring. In the mornings, my students showed off their expert choreography to all of their favorite songs. How they knew every move is still a phenomenal mystery to me. And then during the afternoons, we would watch a K-drama. I even taught myself how to make bibimbap and bulgogi, and we cooked in my classroom on Coleman camp stoves. No, we did not set off the fire alarm, and no students were injured with fire or spice. My point is, somewhere over these past couple of years, an already beautiful language became a subtle backbeat to my day. Perhaps it was the extreme joy that K-pop brought to my students and my toddler who loves to dance, or maybe it was the unobtrusive and fascinating way the music and stories touched the spine of humanity. But the more I encountered the language, the more curious I became over what the words actually meant. Thanks for listening to this reading. Be sure to check out all 4 chapters of Lost, Confused, and the Beauty in Between, a video memoir, and connect with me for updates on writing, readings, and adventures at www.jdbrewerbooks.com.